GM. All right.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today. Um, I'll just start out by saying apologies because we did write a Metis ecosystem thread, and I don't know how I missed it. It's like something I should have known and got you guys included in that. Particularly as we talk relatively frequently anyway. So apologies for that. But yeah, um, and this for me is going to be kind of a I'm going to play the idiot in the room and try and take up a lot of learnings from you guys. So just basically, welcome. Let's do some intros, like personal intros. What you guys do day to day. Let's get stuck into the protocol, Metis as an ecosystem, and then we can probably just shoot the shit in between as well.
Sure. Yeah, of course. I guess I will go first. I am trading tulips. I'm the founder of Aerarium, co-founder of Aerarium. I founded the Tulip DAO. Our team is the team behind Aerarium. Um, we put together a team over the last, I think since last November, we were team building to put together Aerarium. But my background, I started in crypto late 2012, beginning of 2013, buying Bitcoin, losing Bitcoin, trying to trade the first altcoins in existence, and was trying to do gem finding and BTC mining and altcoin mining back then, and came a long way from there to NFTs and DeFi, and kind of been at the forefront of everything as time passed, and finally was really getting involved with some communities on Phantom last year. Was really getting involved with the ecosystems, and it was just, I finally had time to focus and finally had the peace in my life that I needed to be able to take on an entirely new industry at full force. And I really dove in. And here we are about a year later. We have been building Tulip DAO organically and expanding our reach across chain and trying to build some of the coolest shit in DeFi along the way. So, hello.
Nice, nice. Who else have we got on? Just
Oh,
let's get a little brief intro.
yeah.
And I'm Voids. I'm another founding member of Aerarium. I'm a core team member for Tulip DAO. I've been there since its fruition in November of last year as well. In a similar stature, but a little bit less of a history. I started messing around with crypto in 2017, started with the ICOs, just studying the technology and going from there. In the past year, I made the leap from working in the medical field and working in aspects of business in the medical field into full-time Web3. I'm also a marketing manager for another DeFi protocol on Phantom, and I've been helping build everything out in this community standard and helping as a learning business developer behind Tulips.
Nice. We've got some common ground there. I was supposed to be doing something useful in the sciences myself, and then decided to trade magical internet beans for a living. So we share a common past. Um, so effectively, let's do high level. What is the product you guys are building? Obviously, I've now kind of retraced my steps and had a look through it and everything like that. So just anyone who's not kind of aware in the audience, let's go for it. What is the protocol? What is it trying to achieve? What is it currently doing? Future kind of iterations on top of it. Let's go. Let's get into it.
Yeah, of course. The fun stuff. So Aerarium, if you will, is the plan is to be something between a liquid driver and a convex. Um, somewhere in there, in between those, where we have a liquid staked version of the partner emission token instead of CVCRV, we're going to be having a Hermes, and that's just the beginning. We currently, right now, we started the distribution model for Aerarium. I'll back up a little bit. The distribution model was through what you would call traditionally a node. And most people don't like that idea. But one thing that we saw with that model was a way for us to provide revenue share to people as our early participants in the protocol, and allow them a way to get yield over time, maybe governance, things like that, that other people didn't utilize them for. Now, the goal with our treasury was to provide sustainability over time for the protocol, to provide a base level of revenue generation, before bringing in partner emissions, VE NFT emissions, things like that from other protocols where we have gauges and things like that. The difference here is we're not looking to be a single chain, single product, where we're incorporating just like CRV. The goal here is to be the cross-chain yield, not yield aggregator, but basically yield absorber, almost like a liquid driver, right? So liquidity driving on various chains to pull revenue back to our holders. That is the main goal. and distributing the revenue through the protocol in various ways is currently what we are finishing up designing and developing right now. AES is going to be a staked version of AERA. That's coming very soon. We're going to be incorporating partner farms from Hermes. So people, once we begin allowing people to stake their LPs with us, we can direct gauge emissions to them, and as people start locking tokens with us, we can increase emissions, etc. So starting there, we're already in talks with potential partners on other chains to acquire VE NFTs on those chains and begin accumulating voting power. So there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes right now. Nothing is 100% set in stone. So I can't be talking too much about these partnerships, but there is some stuff that I can talk about. But that is the overview of kind of like what we're doing now, what we're trying to do. Staking is about to get launched with a new version of the DApp this week, probably by the weekend, realistically. But yeah, stuff is coming down the pipe, and partnerships are being made right now as we speak to try to bring all this stuff out.
Nice. So just as, again, just going to play the idiot in the room again. So with these kind of protocols that have tokens that necessarily need them to lock up their native token, let's use Hermes for example. A user could go to Hermes and kind of lock up their token on there, but you guys will say, well, come lock up with us and we'll give you, we're going to amass the lion's share of Hermes over time. So we've got like a really significant vote over what happens on that protocol, and obviously the yields generated from that will be paid back to the people who have share in the Aerarium protocol. Is that am I on the right lines there?
Yes, but what the difference? I know that CRV, Convex has their own incentives, but we're going to be having our own line of incentives for people to lock with us. You're going to maintain some voting power, 85% or 80% of your voting power you'll still get to keep, depending on how long you lock for, things like that. So, and you're also getting a liquid stake version of the token. So you'll be able to then take your Hermes token or the A Hermes and hopefully pair it with something and farm at a decent APR, or at least a base level APR, so it's not just sitting there. That's the goal there.
Nice. Well, it's got small cap scientists who just popped up there. Feel free to chime in. You can have the floor if you want. Big fan of market capping, so just chime in if you want, man.
I missed the kickoff, and I don't have a ton of time, but figured I would come pop in for a little bit. But yeah, not too much. Been flying through the day. I think this is hour like 14 of just pretty much straight work. So I think getting a little delirious, to be honest. But it's been a good day. I've got a ton done, so can't complain.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll just throw something selfish out there. Would love to get you guys on a stream or vice versa. Just what we're doing on YouTube and Spotify and stuff. So I'm gonna be selfish and throw that out there to you at the minute. Just while we talk about this.
Yeah, of course. We've been. I think we're planned like the next 2-ish weeks out. We try and catch stuff with like upcoming narratives. Like next week, I don't think we've announced this yet, but we're gonna have the Plutus DAO guys on from Arbitrum, like Ether Soul. He's a CT guy, but like just with Arbitrum Nitro launching like next week, I think they just announced like a butterfly partnership. They also they just announced that they're going to do like PLS GMX. So like I think they're on next week, and I'm not sure about the week after, but yeah, like happy to do some collab stuff there.
Awesome.
I'm a fan of you guys.
Nice.
Let's do it. So let's take it back. What I love what you're talking about with Liquid Driver is my kind of, well, I've got two bugbears. I did decide to lock up my Liquid Driver, and that came considerably down. But that's by the by. But I have this kind of issue with protocols that end up on Phantom and stick around on Phantom and don't kind of branch out. I feel like the Phantom ecosystem is this. It has this weird way of retaining projects and not letting them like spread their wings to other chains. I know a few have, but I've always said if there was kind of a liquid driver, a cross-chain liquid driver, that protocol could do some serious revenue and potential. So is this kind of like the roadmap? Obviously, there's going to be like different developments because you guys are, you're not exactly idiots, are you? So is that kind of like a blueprint, and then you just go and expand and see what new kind of opportunities arise in the market as new protocols come onto the scene? Is that the kind of the gist of it?
Most definitely. I mean, the goal is treasury, right? Treasury as a service was the underlying like value here, and by finding these early protocols that are offering partner emissions, getting into the chain early, getting integrated into the ecosystem early, and becoming part of the DeFi framework, we're giving our revenue potential is so high. We're able to share so much to our protocol participants cross chain, and that's really the goal. Is to kind of like, it's almost like shit coining and finding a gem before anybody else finds it. This is exactly what happened with Hermes for us on Metis, by the way. We got the VE NFT early, one of the first people getting partner emissions when nobody even knew what Hermes or MayaDAO was, and we were farming and compounding through the bear, pull the LP at the bottom, maximize our tokens, locked up some of them, held some of them, and now we're sitting beautifully, So things like that put us in a position where our revenue is so high that we can share a lot more back to the protocol than other people would normally be able to. So that's kind of like the goal for in the beginning, to set the framework for large growth and quick growth. And it worked great on one chain, and we plan to take that model to other chains. But we also need to keep growing on Metis. So we need to be focusing on our relationships on Metis. We're in talks with the Metis team right now. We're really trying to nail that down and help them understand what we're trying to do for the ecosystem by being someplace that can boost yields and boost the value of other protocols, in a hopefully sustainable way through revenue that we're generating. So, that's kind of where we're at right now. We are expanding, but we're also still at home on Metis trying to nail that stuff down at the same time. So it's all ends of the problem.
Yeah. So with regard to the kind of treasury management as well, obviously you're a veteran in this space, but is there like a team behind that? Is that kind of a couple of people working on that? Obviously went to kind of, as you're saying, pulling liquidity and things like that. So is there a more like formalized team behind that, or is it kind of a bit of a close-knit group? You can kind of move faster in a smaller group, I always think, but it's particularly with volatility in this market, you need to be like on point.
Exactly. Right now, it's fairly centralized. If there's major decisions, we do discuss everything with the team or with whoever's around at the time, because there's exactly like you said, there's opportune moments when things need to be done a lot of times, so it puts you in a tricky position when you're managing the treasury. It's like democracy or profitability or success, like sometimes decisions. This is the thing though, is the team has made it clear that they trust me. The community's made it clear that they trust me. So in those moments, if there is nobody around, I'm able to do certain things. I'm not going to be making, like I said, major treasury moves with 10-20% of our funds, but with certain things, you know what I mean, people trust me to make those calls.
You're not doing 100x leverage, doing longs. As soon as Unidex shows up on Metis. It was
Oh
mostly the
man,
treasury getting 100x
luckily,
long.
luckily you can only throw like $200 on a Unidex bet. So even if,
So yeah, because there was that whole, I can't remember when it was. It was probably when everything was flying 3x in a day and stuff. But there was kind of holes that you could point in, like you could poke into these DAOs that were operating maybe through governance a little too much. So like if you look at who was it? Was it like Keep a DAO, where they put up a governance vote for like 2 weeks to decide if they were going to buy a shitload of convex, and it's like you're just like telegraphing your next move to the market, and you're going to get completely front run. If anyone wants that vote goes through,
yeah,
there could have been a shitload of people that have just kind of drove your price up and then immediately sell into what you're going to buy. And like, I do believe there is ways for governance to happen where you could actually delegate to someone who you trust in the market, and I don't think governance has been properly explored in that regard with regards to treasury management. But a lot of people in this space kind of delegate because they don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. So I think
yeah.
for now, while you guys are like at this stage, that's like obviously the the best way to go about it. Because if you did have votes, votes on like treasury allocation, treasury management. As you say, it's profitability versus democracy. So I think you're playing the right game there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think there's ways around that. I completely agree with you. If you just do governance for everything, you screw with all of your profitability, and you get front run, and people take advantage of it heavily, which is a shame. But like, I think there's a few models. Like, I think I've seen some projects that do like a hot wallet, where like if you're doing anything over a certain amount, like it has to be run through the community. But like smaller, quicker moves, like you can do like there's like you don't need to go through a multi-sig and stuff like that. So like I think that works if you need to be a little bit more agile. And like I think like sushi is one that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Maybe one or two others like have like a high council where you have like it's almost like a board of directors, if I'm being honest, where like those people can say like, yes, this is a good decision for us. So it's still like it's what's best for the community, but like it's people that were really elected, and they don't have to really tell the community till after they make some of those moves to keep them a little more secretive. But I
Right.
think you guys are still like growing enough that like I don't think you're gonna have a ton of those issues. You're not gonna have like major whales like front running some of your stuff quite yet, but like it's stuff to think about for like go forward models.
No, most definitely. I agree with all the points you guys are making. I mean, I don't like centralization at all. I mean, I started a DAO for a reason. I'm very decentralized in my thinking for mostly everything. But when it comes to markets, you know, emotions are toxic and inexperience is plaguing the space right now. So there, you know, what we've done is we've hand selected the intelligent voices with experience and put them into what we call the high council, just like you said. So these are holders who we know are educated in the space, have experience, maybe connected in various places like yourselves, and you know we discuss what should we do for voting power, things like that. Should we be bribing? This is the kind of conversations we're trying to have there and get them involved in this stuff, and as well as the treasury moves. So yeah, I fully agree that there is a fine line there with centralization and decentralization, and it's still kind of being figured out. Um, I think the hot wallet, agile wallet, is a great idea. That's something that we've discussed and something that we did in Tulip DAO. So, yeah, that's all stuff that's on the table. It's all stuff that's very, very feasible.
Nice. So who's going to build the Votium on top of you guys?
Who's gonna build the what?
It's a great question. Yeah.
Who's going to build the Votium on top of you guys?
Oh well, you know,
whoever does that, you better fucking contact me because I want to I want to share that.
well, that's the thing is we may have somebody who is already trying to do that. I don't want to say too much, but it's somebody who's a partner of Tulip DAO.
Okay.
I've heard a few. I like Dot came up, but I don't know anything about them. So like they have like a bribe market, I guess, and are on like Binance. So like I heard that there's a chance they might come or are coming because they have some partnerships. They're already talking to like QI DAO. Like, so there's some bribing that they do. I'm not close enough with that ecosystem, mainly because I stay off of Binance for the most part. But like, I heard that there's a chance for them. And I also like, I mean, I feel like there's probably some discussion going on with like the Redacted team as well, for, like their hidden hand marketplace, but I don't know that for a fact. So it's kind of speculation.
Are they planning? Are they planning on going multi-chain or to more chains?
Yeah. So like, I mean, they actually like, I'm a seed there, so I'm pretty close with their business, I would say. But like, they just started with Optimism and Arbitrum, like, so they're pretty much set up to do it. It's more about like cross-chain VE is tough. Like, if you have a VE model, it's very tough to like take your protocol and those lock tokens across chain. So like, I think the markets that they're working with are the what's a good way to put it? They're like the deterrent right now. They need to finish up that dev piece to like make it full cross chain voting. But like right now, like you can bribe on Arbitrum or Optimism and stuff like that, and pairs that are on those different chains. So yeah, I could see them coming to Metis with like the grant program and stuff like that.
Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah, that was a genius move in the early days from them acquiring Votomac, and then just effectively slapping the any bribe kind of type system on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, like Sammy and I think DCF God are pretty close, and I mean, I know DCF very well as well, but that was his project. He was the one who really like started building it. So nice. I think it was a friendly deal, I would say, that was given.
Awesome. Actually, I've heard you speak about this in market capping, but how is this Metis ecosystem grant going to affect the wider projects that are in there? Are we going to see the big players move? Obviously, we've had the Chainlink data feed integration, so the big players can come over a lot more securely now. Is that just like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode for the whole ecosystem, do you think?
I mean, I thought it was decent. Honestly, I've talked to a few different team members from Metis and kind of given my take on a lot of it. And it's really about just like how you spend the funds. Like if you're going to allocate like your $100 million bag and give it all to rewards on Aave for like providing liquidity or like depositing different stables, like that's perfectly fine. And that's going to bring a ton of TVL to the chain. And like, that's good in small doses. Like, I mean, like that's what you really need to pump the TVL so you have liquidity across the chain. But like, that is capital that is like normally vulture capital. Like, it'll come for the high yields. It'll sell off whatever that extra yield token is. Like, so in this case, Metis, and then it'll leave. So it's all about how you like allocate and find ways to get people. I want to say trapped in your ecosystem, but that's not like really the best word. I would say like how you get them to be participants in the ecosystem longer term. So it's like, all right, like here's like how we bring them on chain is some of those like higher yields, incentive programs. It's all about kind of how you keep them. And I mean,
if I may, that's kind of exactly what we have been trying to explain to them, and kind of what our protocol brings to the chain. We're trying to introduce the DeFi framework that's needed here to bring liquidity here and make it stay or make it want to stay, so they have things to do. You know, currently people bridge over, they buy some tokens that may be bullish because of strong teams like ours and stuff like that, or Hermes, but there is not much to do past Hermes or AERA or staking, or, you know, like there's no, the framework for DeFi is thin. And in order for the chain to bring liquidity in and keep liquidity here, I just believe very strongly that the Metis team needs to start empowering these builders. Right now, Hermes is going up for CEG. It's amazing. We're going to be going through the whole process, and we're going to be doing CEG as well to try to get their full support. So we're jumping through the hoops, and we're going to try to see if we can make this happen. But that's kind of where we're trying to shift the conversation, is exactly what you're saying, is trapping that liquidity on chain and giving people things to do with it. You know, maybe they can lock it here or lock it or utilize it in a game, or compound their yields more effectively through this protocol, et cetera. Just, you know, the DeFi Legos.
Exactly. And I mean, I think like there's a few examples of that on chain. So like, I mean, Hum, like I've been a big supporter of Hum. I was a seed there as well, so I think that's the reason I've been so close to it. But like, once you join Hum and like they have like fees going on, or you're earning like Metis for staking your stables, like you're probably like there's a very good chance that you're gonna buy Hum. So like you get that extra boost on your stables, and then once you stake it, you get VE Hum. Or like you should stake it for VE Hum to get a boost on your stables, a boost on your Metis. That you're actually earning. But like once you stake that VE hum, it's very hard like mentally to unstake, because as soon as you do, you lose it all. If you unstake any of the hum that you've earned, like you lose all of your VE hum. So like the thing with that is like you could think like, okay, well, as soon as the Metis rewards are done someday, or the yields aren't high enough, people unstake them. But they're also doing like swap fees. So like all of those swap fees of like those larger bags coming on chain eventually for things like AVE, like when you start earning like a big piece of those swap fees, and all of a sudden you're staked for, let's say, 6 months when this program ends, you've been earning VE hum, like accumulating it for 6 months. Like that is actually worth more staked as like a big bag of VE hum than it is for you to actually sell it off, like unstake it, lose all your VE hum and sell it off, because you'll be earning more in rewards. So like that's one way to trap capital. Like Hermes is very similar. So it's like Hermes, like I think you saw the proposal that went out for them to go through like CEG. I actually talked to the Metis team of why I thought it was a great idea, but like part of like what they're proposing is like not giving the actual Metis rewards and like the grant money to the LPs directly. Like what they would do is they would incentivize people to lock their Hermes, which, as we all know, for the most part, is like that burns it forever for the most part, because you're locking it for 4 years. Almost everybody's locking it for 4 years, and then when you transition to V2, it's burnt. So like you become a member of that protocol forever, unless you go through something like your protocol AERA, which is going to make it a little bit more liquid. But like that's a perfect reason for you guys to be involved in that. And then I would just say like on top of incentivizing people to lock, they're also planning to incentivize bribes, which in my opinion is the biggest thing missing from their current flywheel. Like there isn't a ton of protocols bribing, but if they start bribing on the back end, everybody who's like yielding Hermes all of a sudden is going to start locking it, and like once again, like that Hermes is pretty much burnt forever. And if you look, there's like 24 million Hermes in circulation. I think like emissions are about 750K. So like you're really not emitting that many for a week, and or per week. And like I think a few weeks ago is it like 28 million unlocked. So like circulating supply of Hermes is actually crashing, like because more and more people are locking. If you start incentivizing locks and bribes, like Hermes could easily slingshot to $2-3 just because like the market cap could still be like $2 as it is right now. But if half the circulating supply ends up locked, like the price has to double just to keep the same market cap. So like that's when all of those APRs skyrocket of all of those other pairs on Hermes platform, and like it kicks off a really sick flywheel. And like I'm super bullish on it, but that's where you guys fit perfectly. And like as I hopped on, I was being quiet at the very beginning of this call when you said like, hey, we accumulated when nobody else was looking. If you guys have, I think you own like 2% of Hermes or 2.5%, something like that. Like that could end up being worth a ton of money, especially on the back end when it comes to voting, bribes, and things like that. So you did a great job accumulating in the like through the quiet bear.
Yes, sir, man. Well said. That's all good, really good stuff. And I fully agree. I think that a lot of it is just kind of, it was a big gamble for us at the same time, you know. And there was people who were not really understanding why, and there was, you know, those times in the beginning
I heard
when
it was a
you're
party.
questioning yourself.
I heard it was a party with a big booty bitch.
What's up?
What are the bitches, bro?
How we doing?
Trying to get these up tonight.
This your boy?
Who? BOG. That's a girl profile pic. What's up, Charlie? I'm single. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but she not in my life right now.
And this is really rated X.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Hell yeah.
Are we back?
Damn, I guess nobody gonna talk.
Are we back? 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 Are we back?
What
Are we
happened?
back?
Let me turn this bitch up.
Yes.
Y'all listen to Nirvana, fucking, you feel me? Triple Red. Y'all listen
Right, where were we?
To myself accidentally. I went to check the market capping Twitter, and because I switched Twitters on my phone, it kicked me off. So that's my fault.
Oh, good. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I mean, they probably. I think they're going to do it the right way. They could have looked at Avalanche Rush and how everyone came and, as you say, kind of mercenary farmed the rewards. Like, and I'm pretty sure. I know it wasn't as disclosed as it probably should have been, but like where those kind of Avalanche Rush rewards were going on to what protocols, but I could kind of assume that a lot of them were going to Curve and RV at the time. But then, like, you've kind of got the Phantom model where it's incentivizing the builders and then they can distribute how they want. But you're kind of seeing how that got gamified towards the end, particularly with Sovereignty coming onto the scene. So there is like a little bit of thinking to do about the distribution of the grant, I think. But you're 100% correct in what you're saying. I mean, TVL is down like effectively 10x from, was it like 50 to, was it 55 or the other way around? So yeah, there's going to need to be like liquidity retention on chain, and I think you guys are in prime position to allow that. So if I was you, I'd be going to them and just saying, just give me all the 100 million.
I mean, yeah, I chatted with a few of them this morning, and I said really the two protocols I would target if you guys that really make a difference are Hum and Hermes. I think Hum has your stable coins, and like it's small enough that like I think you'll pull in a lot of capital before the big stuff shows up with Aave and some of those. But Hermes and like some of the protocols sitting on it, that just, if you get Hermes flywheel going and the price of Hermes goes, then everything else follows. Like it is kind of your ecosystem at this point.
Yeah.
So
100%. I agree with that.
I mean,
and it really shows the effect that it has with our protocol, right? And the APRs pump, and all of a sudden people who never seen our token or our protocol are buying the token so that they can stake for 500%, and it creates, looks like you said, a flywheel.
yeah.
And everybody makes money. So it's a cool thing. I think the ecosystem really needs to rely on that right now while it is so strong, just like you're saying. Kind of lean on it, but at the same time, next conversation, make sure you let them know to throw some Metis our way too.
Yeah. I mean, I have some open lines with a few of those guys, but I mean, that was one of the first times I met with, like, I want to say the larger team, but I'm happy to press them a bit. But I mean, we spent a lot of time on that proposal today, like that Hermes put together, because I mean, if you look at it, it's not small. I mean, like Hermes finally opened, or finally was fixed on like CoinGecko and Dex Screener today. I pressed the team to get it fixed, but it's actually correct now. I think their circulating market cap's like 2 million, and this grant, like, it's like 1.2 to 5.5 million. So like imagine a 1.2 to 5.5 million dollar grant going to a protocol that is 2.4 million. Like, you guys are sitting pretty if that goes through. So I mean, you'll be one of the biggest benefactors of it too. And I think that's the goal. Like, I mean, if you look at it from Metis's perspective, like if they give a big, like, I guess a big grant to like Hermes, like it should kind of trickle into the rest of the ecosystem. Like that should directly benefit you guys as well. I'm not saying that doesn't mean don't give you guys a grant, but like that's also like hey, like they're tossing like even you guys a big bone through the Hermes grant.
Yeah, of course. And nothing is going to be as good as having their support, though. You know what I mean? In that regard.
100%.
But I agree. We will reap benefits regardless.
Yeah.
I think we've got a man in as well. Just requested to speak.
Well.
Thought I'd just hop in and say how much I appreciate the conversation. I highly recommend everybody on here follow Blockmates. Is that you, Jedi, that I'm speaking to?
Grant today. The old man's in bed.
Okay, Grant. Gotcha. Right on, man. How you doing?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
You're in, where are you located again?
I'm based out in Asia at the minute. This is why I'm up at a ridiculous time.
Yeah, I saw this late night, and I was about to start working on some stuff, and I saw this. I'm like, let me take a smoke break, and I've been kind of just listening in on Tulip and Small Cap, and it's been really awesome. I highly recommend everybody follow these guys. Some of the stuff that's been shared, definitely stuff that's on the top of our mind and tip of our tongue right now. So I just want to say that I really appreciate the conversation and you guys actually having this. Big shout out to Block for getting engaged with people in our ecosystem. I got listening to BD's conversation with Small Cap today. How's it going, Small Cap?
Sorry, I was muted. Very good. How's it going?
Good, man.
Nice
it was
to meet
awesome. Awesome. Yeah, nice to meet you. I didn't get to speak earlier. I just kind of was busy, plugging away, but listening in the periphery. Love some of the stuff that was shared back and forth. And with Aerarium, final over a call in recent times, and we really appreciate and like the insight that you guys had provided. Keeping in mind that, I can speak on a personal note that we're just very protective, obviously, rightfully so, because of previous, stuff that had happened. So we're just kind of, obviously with the marathon and everything, we're just having to make, I think there's going to be a very interesting between a lot of the builders right now. So there'll be a lot of opportunity for a lot of people to kind of engage with everyone, but also with us at a very integral level. So I'm going to just stop there. Not really much more I wanted to add, but send some appreciation towards you guys and listening to your guys' opinions of the ecosystem and whatnot. So thank you guys.
Of course, love it, man.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Awesome. So we didn't expect that, but yeah, that's all good. Adds to the flavor of the conversation.
And yeah, man, thanks for going through the CEG process. I know it's a little bit of hoops and hurdles, but very well intended. And yeah, just looking forward to supporting you guys.
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. We are going to do it. We know the importance of getting your guys' support, and what we are trying to do, it really, we believe is going to help the ecosystem. So I'm excited about the future. Thank you, man.
Definitely, no problem, guys. Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
All right,
Love
all
it.
right.
This is where miracles happen, folks.
I mean, I didn't expect as much.
Manifest it. You got to manifest it. That was it.
Yeah. It just started out as a random conversation between us, and then it's expanded into some good stuff. And if you're not in here, you wouldn't have heard that. I mean, we will pull it down, but you guys get the opportunity to front run if you are in the chat. So go for it. Can we just take a step back and see what's Tulip DAO's role? Like, obviously, that you said you spun up a DAO. How does that feed into everything that you guys are building? Because I'm intrigued. Obviously, we've done a little bit on the side, but yeah, just fill me in.
Yeah, of course. Well, you want to say something, boys? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I want to say that our position in how we formatted the Tulip DAO over time, starting as earlier investors in an ecosystem like Phantom. We were surrounded by builders. We helped grow networks and then cross-chain networks. We really got to see from start to finish what kept TVL on chain, what worked together with collaborating with other people and other focuses, how the more successful protocols, like you said, Blockmates, there's definitely an issue with certain protocols getting stuck on Phantom. The ones that were able to move out and find liquidity elsewhere and then bring that back and bring that user base forward, we really developed ourselves and our community to be able to build a brand like Aerarium 5 because of the amount of experience and the networks that we grew while we were hosting our AMAs, growing our networks. We started doing KYCs and audits. We wanted to protect our own investors and our community. But after a certain point, with the amassed amount of networks that we created, we wanted to be those ecosystem drivers and facilitators. And we saw a perfect opportunity to do that on Metis, especially with what Hermes was offering.
Yeah, that's well said. But also, I want to add, Tulip DAO gave us the foundation. You know what I mean? To have all this network of builders and these relationships that now, we are still having protocols, and we just had Byte Masons last week or 2 weeks ago. And Byte Masons, I'm not sure if you know, they built Reaper Farm. They have plans to build a cross-chain yield protocol called Reliquary that's coming. They're doing a bunch of stuff. It's a team of 30 plus builders bringing integrity and security to the space. These guys are awesome. Beavis is a legend, and that spawned a conversation. And we just had a talk with them just 2 days ago, and learning about their cross-chain ventures and potential synergies that we could be forming with their projects. So just an example of how the relationships in the DAO, spark conversations, and then it leads to potential relationships either for a partner of ours or a protocol we're advising or a protocol we built like Aerarium, etc. So it's a really nice thing to have this trusted investors DAO that is kind of a hub for like Voids was saying, for builders and creatives and investors alike. So it puts us in a really unique position.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, if you've obviously been around the space so long that you've kind of built up this network, and it'd be a bit of a shame not to put it to good use, but like kind of formalizing it into the package that you guys have spun out. Yeah, it seems I mean, I think it's only a matter of time when you put that many kind of smart people in the same place and that many incentivized people in the smart place until someone strikes gold. And obviously it lifts everyone who's in that group. So, and those Byte Mason guys, they are like true builders as well. Like I've followed their stuff for a long time now. So, I mean, yeah, this is super interesting. I should really pop by more into the channels where you guys are having a conversation. Just very busy at the minute, but I'll make sure to swing by more, because it seems like, as I said, it's only a matter of time until you guys completely strike gold, I think.
Love it, man. That's, we've all kind of felt the same way. And it is a lot. It's a lot at Tulip DAO, and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of noise sometimes, but at the top, it's very focused with what we're working on. We're also advising some protocols on various chains, an NFT project launching on Solana, that we're helping with their community. We designed their Discord, help them with branding, things like that, connecting them with communities, because through the DAO, we've been, meeting project leads and founders and people building cool shit all over. So it's just like, it's really fun stuff, man. And I agree. It's just kind of a matter of time, and Aerarium is very well positioned to maybe be that, so it's good stuff, man. I love it. It's been exciting.
Yeah, I suppose you could kind of think of it as like Aerarium as more like an index on a bet on the whole Metis ecosystem for now, but as it expands, a bet on the kind of cross-chain narrative in and of itself, like an underlying index of all those tasty tokens that you guys are going to absorb over the years. So it's, I mean, stuff like that. It's just like Liquid Driver was a good way to get exposure to the whole Phantom ecosystem, and that's why I think it did tremendously well. And obviously, the lock-in incentives played a big part in that. But if you guys are positioned to be like a by proxy bet on the ecosystem in and of itself, and people come in and see relatively small market cap, huge upside, I think. Well, I know from being a complete idiot and a complete ape, that's like, it ticks all my boxes, and that's when I tend to press the green button on stuff like this. So I can imagine it's going to be like a huge hockey stick uptake as soon as people begin to bridge over to Metis, and hopefully we can try and help out with as much content around the Metis ecosystem as possible to kind of put some eyes on that, and we will continue to do that, and we should be covering you guys in a more long form article and some threads in that as well, because you'd be amazed at the amount of messages I get from projects that want their like their projects covering, and we have to kind of turn away like 95%, because I mean the reputation has to stay intact at all times. So We'd obviously be more than happy to cover you guys in long form content, and we have a kind of working relationship anyway. So let's get that sorted. And if there's any questions in the audience, we've got like 10 minutes left. So let's, if not, if you are coming up to speak, you have to be on mobile. We've had numerous issues with people coming up to speak and being on a laptop. It doesn't work. So we'll leave the last 10 minutes for any questions, if anything else has got anything to say. But if I haven't covered anything that you guys want to chime in with regards to the protocol or Tulip DAO, then just, chip in now.
Let's go.
Rod.eth.
Rard. He's an Aerarium community member.
What's good?
Nice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's
Absolutely.
up, man?
Yeah, I was just curious. So were you guys thinking about also looking into Arbitrum as well?
100%. We're going to be moving with Hermes like a hawk, and we're going to be interfacing with their protocol wherever they land. Arbitrum is going to be the home of Hermes soon, where the emissions are controlled from. So yes, we will be on Arbitrum.
I see.
And we are currently looking into optimism strategies for ecosystem deployment and design, so that we could be interfacing with things like Beethoven X as they start to expand on optimism, as well as Byte Mason's venture over there. So there's other things as well, but those are some of the things.
How do you guys do you guys still like Velodrome, or?
We are accumulating a little bit of Velodrome. We're kind of playing it slow. There's some stuff that we don't like so far, but we're definitely watching, and we may be reaching out. Something else I want to add is Aurora is a strong possibility for us. There's a new VE-NFT protocol launching over there that we're reaching out to right now about becoming an early partner with them and Bastion. Aurora, we love the tech. It's just very small right now, but the tech is great. But that could be another potential huge play for us if it does pan out. Also, we're in talks with Near Foundation. That's that's kind of like their outreach guy or their partnership guy that we've been in contact with. I think he's on vacation or something. Either that or he died, because he's not responding. But we'll get that figured out, though. But the idea is to get Near protocol or Near Foundation support for the project that's built on Aurora, and then utilize some sort of bridge function to allow users on Near to get access to the yields on Aurora through an NFT collection. So we're trying to do some stuff like that. It'll increase liquidity over there, get us more access to the ecosystem, and strengthen our relationships with the on-chain teams over there building.
I see. Very cool. And I just had one more question. You guys keep saying that you're a liquid driver and convex hybrid. I understand the convex portion, but I wasn't really in Phantom when liquid driver was popping off. So could you kind of give me a rundown on that, like a brief synopsis?
Yeah, I mean, AERA. Okay, so with AERA, let's say you lock your AERA. This is what the function is that's similar is. Over time, as you lock your AERA or your AES into the protocol, you will be earning rev share in like a basket of tokens. So through our partnerships, through our farming, through however we generate the revenue and the tokens, we will be distributing those to people who are holding share in the protocol. So lockers and fractal holders. The big thing with Liquid Driver is you would get a basket of assets that you could claim and you could compound into other ecosystem plays. It was really cool. So it really promoted other protocols really well. It promoted healthy compounding loops, if you knew what they were. It was a really cool function. And that's the type of stuff we want to really like strengthen wherever we go is those healthy compounding loops that reduce cell pressure and allow people to, deposit it directly into something, or just sell half instead of selling 2 tokens to jump into another strategy, whatever it might be,
Did those guys ever get around to, was it did they call it something like shadow vaults? So effectively the back end strategy to optimally optimize that yield and compound it. Did that vault ever get heard. So it's like
they have
they're
shadow
effectively
farming live. Shadow
Maple
farming
Strike
is
Black
live.
Steel. Yeah. Sick. Okay,
I
makes
think
sense.
we're lagging.
Good
Yeah, we're lagging, I think. Yeah, they have shadow farming live, and they're also talking about cross chain. I'm not sure exactly in what capacity yet, but they were discussing it. I know that.
I see. Very cool. And just one more question regarding Arbitrum. Are you guys aware of Plutus DAO? It's kind of like a convex of like all the governance tokens and Arbitrum Eco. Of course, this space is really early, and it's better to work with others than to try to break each other down. But what do you guys think about your guys' product market fit with Arbitrum, with Arbitrum's Plutus?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's never going to be a scenario where we never have people with competing products or similar products, right? So, it's either going to be good for us and breed healthy competition and maybe some healthy maybe we partner in some regard, or we're able to find a synergy that we're able to work together. I seem to be pretty creative when it comes to problem solving and ecosystem design, so maybe we can think of something that could be beneficial to both parties. And we have a very large stake in Hermes going over there, and as Hermes moves to Arbitrum, that's putting us at a large advantage there. So that's one thing we have up our sleeve. Just so everybody knows, my goal right now is perfecting our product on Metis chain, getting the full suite of tools launched so that we can then just deploy very easily wherever we need to. There may be a scenario in the short term where we need to quickly just launch token liquidity, launch a farm, and get to work accumulating with a partner VE NFT so that we can start receiving funds. But that would be the only thing happening. It wouldn't be like it would not be an event where we're trying to get people over there to buy the token and do all that stuff. But I just wanted to share one idea that we had for our cross-chain model is obviously we hold quite a large percentage of the supply in the treasury, which allows us flexibility to do things like launch over here, launch on Arbitrum, launch on Optimism with liquidity pools, as long as we see that it's sustainable and it works, right? So the idea is that we allow an ARB function to be built. We're going to build an ARB function into the protocol. So when we launch liquidity on various chains, we're going to allow users to ARB between chains and claim that profit, but it shares a percentage of the revenue back to the protocol. So we're basically cutting 30%, then they get to keep like 70 or something. Don't like take my word on those numbers, but the idea is to allow the user base to claim and to ARB and allow to keep the price intact, and we believe that should keep the prices uniform across chain. Just one idea bouncing around.
No, yeah, that's really sick. Thanks for your time. Appreciate y'all.
Yep. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you being in the community and being vocal.
No problem, man.
Awesome. That was great. I think we're coming to the top of the hour, so thanks everyone for coming. Thank you, Small Cap, for swinging by. I know it must be late for you. Your eyes must be red and stinging at the minute. So thanks again. As I say, I'll get this pulled down in the next 24 hours. We'll get it on YouTube, Spotify, and if you guys need the file, just send me I don't know, Dropbox or Google Drive folder. We'll send it out. And yeah, let's do it again because I think like 3-4 months down the line, I think this could be really, really interesting conversation, and just being able to kind of use this as a reference point. So yeah, thanks again for coming on.